All right. This is Oluwadara Kairos here, and then let's go and make up this kettle modeling. All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to divide our viewport into two, and you will see the reason why while we're working is just to make our life easier while working. So the way to do that is you just come here and make sure that your mouse target comes up until the target comes up. When it comes up, just drag to your left, and then voila, we have to viewport. So we want to change this viewport into front orthographic. So we press 1, and then it's there, and then this is the perspective. We can move around here. So whatever we create here, we'll see it in perspective here. So right about that, the next thing we need to do is to bring in our reference image. So reference image is very important so that it gives you a good guide of what you are doing, and then it increases your precision and accuracy. So to do that, we press Shift A. Make sure that your mouse is on front orthographic so that it's not on perspective view. So we go to images, and then we go to reference. I already know where my reference image is, so I just scroll down. I know what I want to do. Okay. All right. So it's taking a while because, of course, okay, this document, no wonder. All right. So I'm supposed to see it here, and then let's go down. It should be around the soon. I'm trying to look for the kettle. Yeah. So I have it here. So I already made the kettle background transparent for you so that it will be very easy. This is not transparent, but I already made it transparent to make life easier. So we had empty, and then here we go. We have our kettle on our front orthographic. Please note, don't try and bring in your image from the perspective port. So this is what happened. Let's say you're like this on your perspective viewport, and you bring in a reference image. So let's just say you bring in this. Let me bring in the kettle so that it's better to see the difference, right? So we have this, yeah, we have this kettle. So let's bring it in. Now look at what happened. The perspective view will place the reference image based on where you're facing in the user perspective. And then we can see now that it's not well placed. So make sure that you bring in your reference image. And if you look at the front perspective, you see that it's slanted and it's not giving us the right shape. So let's delete it. And then we are back to our front perspective here. I need to reduce this because I'll be working more here. So the first thing I need to do is to ensure that this kettle is placed on the x-axis. So all I need to do is click on my reference image, and I come here to data, and I don't also want it to show in my perspective view. So all I need to do is just, remember you have to click on the data first so that you see the properties of this reference image, and then you unclick perspective, and it's no more showing here. It's only showing on our front orthographic view. And then I want to reduce the opacity. So I check the opacity, and then I drag it down, and I think I'm good here. So all I need to do, I want to move this up, so I can just and I need to reduce the size. So let's do 2. Yeah, let's do 2, and then I move it along the y-axis upward till it's on x. So here we are with our kettle reference. So the next thing we need to do now, if we look at this now, this kettle here started with a cylinder. So because it started with a cylinder, it means that, the primitive shape of this kettle here is cylinder. So let's start with the body part first. Let's bring in a cylinder, Shift A, mesh, let's bring in a cylinder. And then here we are, we scale S, and then we bring it down. And then there is something I didn't do, so we bring it back again. Remember, we said when you bring in the cylinder, you have to change the properties. So I want to change the vertices to 12, and then I can now scale down. I can scale down. That's the general scale. I move it up. I move it along the y-axis. No, this is front orthography. That's why this is y-axis. So GZ, and then we come here, and then what we need to do is scale it on the z-axis, SZ, and then do a general scale, S. Do a general scale so that it fits the body of the kettle. Then we scale it down again on z-axis, SZ, so it becomes flatter. But it seems this guy is too big, so G X to move it, GZ to bring it down so that it matches here. So it's still somehow. All you just need to do is just make sure that you move this that this cylinder matches, it matches this width of the kettle here to here. So SZ, I want to bring it down. There's a reason, and I want to scale it up. I think it's okay like this. GZ, and I make it the base. So now what we are now, we need to change the wireframe mode so that we'll be able to see the kettle as we are working. So if you notice something, you notice that this lower part here is curved, right? So we can deal with that now or later. But let's enter edit mode and then let's deal with that now. I love dealing with it earlier. So S scale, and then I just drag it down. I drag it down. Uh, okay, I think there is something we should do. I press escape. So let's bring this down. Let's bring this down first, and then let's scale this lower part. Yeah, so that we have a good base. So now we select all of these again. Then we now start extruding. If E is for extrude, and then we now start extruding till it matches it. So the essence of extruding is to get the primitive shape of this kettle. Forget about the curves and all of that for now. What we want to do is to model out this kettle body. So now that we've selected this, notice I'm on vertex mode, right? I'm on vertex selection in edit mode. So now that I've selected all, let me select it again, drag over this, then we extrude, and then all we need to do is just follow this thing. But because there are curves and all of that, so we can't just work with that. So I'll show you how to do what we want to do now. So we extrude and bring it up a bit, and scale S, make it wider a bit. Then we now extrude again, bring it up, let's go halfway, and then we extrude again. This halfway that I went is important so that when we want to bring out the kettle mount, it will be easier for us. So now looking at this, if you look at my right hand side, you see that it's scaled down, right? So we do that, scale and bring it down, and bring it down. So this part here needs to be scaled too. But if we do that, if we follow the ref like that, we won't get the right selection for the kettle. So we won't do that. We'll just go with what we had initially so that we have a flatter, what's it called? So let me scale this. Let me scale this to give us this. Then we go on E again, halfway, we scale it a bit. Then we go E again, halfway, we scale it a bit. Then we go E again, yeah, and then we scale again. What is more important is to get the very shape that you need first before you now start saying you want to subdivide and all. So we do this. So we keep doing this till we get, I think we can go one more time. Okay, there's a stuff here. So scale again, and then we go. Let me zoom in so that we can see. Then we extrude again, and then this is like the lead, right? This is like the lead of the kettle. So we scale again, then we extrude, and we're good now. We scale again. So we have done the mesh, the total mesh. If we come to our perspective view, we can see that we have kettle body primitive shape, right? So the next thing we need to do now is let's work on the cover. So to run the cover, what we just need to do is very simple. So we duplicate this one. We enter our face mode 3, or you come here and you select this face mode, and then you duplicate Shift D, and then you register it by pressing enter, and then you loop part by pressing P, and then by loop part. So now if I go back into object mode, and then we have it here. So let's name this base. Please, naming is very important. And then we know that this is, let's just name the lead of the cover, right? So if I come here and I move this up, GZ, we can see that we have a part that we use from here. So escape to take it back to the original position, not register it. So we'll come back to the base. So let's model out the cover. So we come back to our kettle, our front view, and then we enter edit mode, And then don't forget we're in face mode, but let's is to be on the safer side, let's go to vertex. And then we now have to extrude again to get the shape of this cover. So we press E and we move up. These curves are very, very important. So if you notice here, let me show you something. If you notice here, to achieve this curve here, that means you have to bring this here first, one, then you bring it here, extrude out, bring it up here, extrude in again. So I'll show you now. So E, we come here, let's do this one, then E, we come halfway, then we scale out, E, we come up here, then we scale inward. That is how we're going to achieve that beautiful curve that is here. I mean, you can always zoom in together. So we extrude again. I always don't like doing straight up, so I always like doing halfway to get a perfect curve. So you can go like this. Now you can see that the curve is not perfect, right? That's why I say I don't always like going all through. So you come here, just increase it up a bit, scale, so that when you have subdivision, when you had subdivision, it will give you a perfect shape of what you just created. I mean, nonetheless, it may still work well, but when people that are very conversant with 3D model and stuff look at it, they will tell you this stuff was not modeled well, right? So we go again, we extrude again, and then we go here, yeah, we scale it down, and then we go again. Now let's zoom in so that we can see this part very well. So we go again, we extrude, we go up again, and then we scale inward, we extrude again, we scale inward. S is for scale, we all know that, right? So we extrude again, and then this is very tricky, so you have to be careful. You don't scale along this joint. You first of all have to start the scaling from the bottom of the joint halfway and then up again. So I will show you why. So this is the bottom of the curve. So you come here, scale like this, extrude halfway, scale inward, extrude halfway again, then scale outward. That way your curve will be perfect when you have subdivision. So let's keep extruding. You scale outward again. S, E to extrude. Okay, we have that here. We have a straight part there. So E to extrude, then S to scale out. E to extrude again. S to scale out a bit. E to extrude again. S to scale inward. E to extrude again. S to scale inward. I mean, you can just do some shortcut, but I will not advise you to use that. Make sure that your curves are precise, right? When you are, at least the edges should be carved very well, so that when you have subdivision, you won't have problems with your mesh. So we extrude again, and then we go okay, for this, okay, we can go on, and then we scale till we have, yeah. So now we've created the lead. Let's save. Don't forget to save. Kettle modeling. So let's save that. So we now have the cover, the body part, and now we want to scale out. Let's scale out this dude, or interestingly, let's bring out this guy here. Let's bring out this guy here, right? So all we need to do is to be sure. We come to our point mode. Let's go back again. Let's go back to our object mode, and then we come back to, we select the base now, and when we enter our edit mode, and then we select this point. The reason why I selected this point first is so that I will know which side I'm on my perspective view, because I'll be using perspective view for the next editing now, right? So the next thing I want to do is to be sure, now that I know that it's on the left, make sure that this gizmo is the same thing as this gizmo. So we have the Z and Y here. For example, if your gizmo is like this, you won't know whether this part that you selected is on the left. So that's why you look at this gizmo. This is X, right? So you bring your X like this, or just click your X, Y, You can just do various variation, but you can roll it to be sure. So the X is on this side, Y is on this side. Yeah, something like this. So I can do it like this and it will give me front orthographic view, right? But I don't need the front orthographic view. All I just need to, I want to be sure that it's on the left. So it means that this on the left here is on the left here. So if I come to my perspective view, it's on the left here. So we've selected the right part. So what I want to do now is we have something that we need to work on here. So very simple. Please pay close attention to what I want to do here. It's very, very important, please. So the next thing we want to do is to create a circle out of this place so that we can extrude this guy out. So how do we do that? What we need to do now is to bevel this point, this vertex. So we come to our bevel to click on it and it will give us this arrow. When you click on it, please just come here where my mouse is, these two, click on it so that you will see the property of these bevel vertices. Now look at this. The bevel is on edges, so it means that if you bevel this point, it won't work because it's a vertex you select. It is only when you bevel a edge that it will work. You can try that. I don't want to do all that, but I'm just telling you to know why I'm doing this. So click on vertices because it is vertices we want to bevel. If you don't click on vertices, it won't work. So now as we do that, just bevel out a bit like this. Don't worry, it doesn't need to be big because we're still doing a lot of editing. Then we now have to do some manual stuff here. So come here now, and let me make this a bit bigger. So come here now, this bevel option. Now the width type from offset, change it to percent. So nothing is happening, right? So from segment, change it to 2. And then you have to change this percentage, increase this percentage. Don't let it hit the dot, right? You can let it hit the dot, right? It's up to you. It's up to you, but make sure the segment is just 2. Then what is very important here is this shape here. Let's use 0.1. So when we use 0.1, look at what happened. It gave us this shape. So now to get a good topology, there are some things we still need to do. So one of the things we need to do first is to connect all these lines together. They are disconnected. It means that the mesh would discontinue from here to here at this point. So what we need to do is join this part to this part, join this part to this part, and then we'll do some other things later. So the first thing is from here to here, let's get out from our bevel. Hold your shift and select these two. Then join it together. To do that, the shortcut is A. Now you've joined this and this. But there is something I noticed now that may give us some issues in the future. So let me control Z, right? And let's bevel again. And I'll tell you what I noticed. So now let's do that again. I did this, right? I scale, then I come change this to percentage, then the width I increase it to 100. But notice the width, as I increase it to 100, it touched this point. It might give us issue later. So don't let it touch the edges. Let there be space, because if it touches the edges, it means that these vertices and these vertices will be on top of each other, and to be serious issue for us. So just look at, in proportion to how large this square is, make this come out like this. Then our segment, we change it to 2. Then we reduce this to 0.1 as we've done earlier. So you can now go to your width percentage and now increase it, but make sure it doesn't touch this edge, does not touch this edge, and you will know soon why we're doing that. So let's join this together again. Let me leave here, this and this. Click on this vertex, click on this vertex and click here to join. Click on this vertex, click on this vertex and click here to join. Click on this vertex, click on this vertex and click here to join. Click on this vertex, click on this vertex and click here to join. So there are still some parts we've not joined. From here to here is not joined. From here to here is not joined. It's not continuous. So we click this edge, click this edge, click this edge, and we press J. Click this edge, click this edge, click this vertices rather, not edge. Press J. Now we have all the vertices joined together. So the next thing we want to do now is to select the faces. So we select all the faces, all shifts while you're pressing it. We select all these faces and let's extrude it a bit. To extrude out, make sure you're watching your front photography so that you don't extrude out of where the kettle is starting, right? So just make it stay around here. Then you now scale on the x-axis. So x, you press scale S, x, and then 0. So now we have this, but it's not giving me what I want. So it means we extruded, our extrusion is too small. So we extrude out again. We extrude out again so that, so S 0, yeah, so that there is space on the top here. There is space also on the top here. So, but I think this dude SX. So we can, I mean, it depends on what you want to achieve, right? But let's go back to our. So we extrude and we begin to change the direction, right? So R to rotate just in the direction of where you want to go. So G to move it up, G to move it up, E again to extrude, R to rotate, G to move it up. So now we need to scale, S to make it smaller. So that's how I keep extruding. E to move it to extrude. I mean, you can do one or two, but I think to make the scaling better, because the tapering there's a way the tapering is. So let's do two more. Then R to rotate to go up, G to move it this direction, then we scale again, then E again to extrude. Let's extrude it totally out so that it matches this. R to rotate so that it flattens it out. I think the rotation is too much. Let me take it out. Then G to move it in that direction. Then we scale again. Now notice something happened here. It did not fit in the way I want here, right? So all I just need to do is rotate R and then this and then G to bring it back. R to rotate it. So you just adjust it till it gives you what you want, right? So we have a primitive of how this looks like. So now let's quickly go to, don't forget to always save because Blender can crash at any time. We need to go back to make the handle, right? The handle is one of the simplest things to do. So all we just need to do here is, let's control F say, all we just need to do here is this is also like a cylinder going, round and round. So we bring in another cylinder, right? So Shift A, bring in a cylinder, and then it's quite big, right? So S, make it very small. Then we'll bring it up here. You don't need to put any orientation since you are on the front photographic view. Bring it here. Then you scale it till it matches this guy. But since we are not starting our extrusion from here, we have to bring it to where we are starting our extrusion from so that it will give us a perfect. Let's just start the extrusion from here. So we scale it down to what we want, rotate it so that it matches the direction. And then after doing this, we go back into our vertex mode, select this, then we start extruding out. So E, extrude, then G to move it, G to move it. Don't forget your rotation must face the direction we want to go. This rotation is not perfectly rotated. This mesh is not perfectly rotated, the vertex. So we are and rotate so that it faces upward. So you go here again, G to shift it, and then we need to scale it out a bit. Then we rotate again in that direction. So we extrude again. These things are very important, please. Extrude halfway. Okay, I was not supposed to extrude like that. So yeah, now that we're here, all we need to do is just rotate again to move upward. G to move a bit, so it balances. So we keep extruding like that. Let's go this way again. G to move it like this. To scale it out a bit. The rotation is still okay. G to extrude again to this point, G to move it like this, and then we scale it out a bit. Yeah, the rotation is still perfectly okay. So extrude upward again. I think we can do something here to make this curve like really really nice. So let me stop here. G to move it here. Our rotation is still perfect. So we extrude again. G to move it. We extrude again. We extrude again. Now notice this place is curving inward. You will see what we'll have to do now. Press extrude up to here. Scale outward a bit. And then I think we need to rotate because we are curving now. So rotate and then you curve to match the direction you want to go. You go again. You go again. I think here is perfect. G to move it. Let it be at the center like this. Rotate it in that direction. Very important. Then you scale it. Then you scale. Then you scale it. So I missed the curvature here, right? I missed the curvature here. There's supposed to be a curve here. So let me control D. So extrude again. R to rotate. G to move it. S to scale out. Then you extrude again. Yeah, we can now go G to move it here. S to scale out. R to rotate. I always like rotating before I actually scale. So now we see that we are following this. So now this is very important. What we want to do here is very important. Make sure that, yeah, I know this is very deceiving. You might want to extrude along this big part, but don't do it. Don't be tempted to do it. You will see what we'll do next to make this work out. So just keep modeling and just maintain the shape as the curvature, not necessarily the shape of this big part. So we extrude again, and then I think we need to, yeah, G here, rotate in that direction, and our scale is perfect. So extrude. Make sure that this part, the part that connects this smaller part and this big part, make sure that's where you stop. So you rotate, and then I think you have to scale inward a bit to match this guy. So the next thing we need to do is we just need to scale so that we get the shape of this kettle, and then I'll tell you what next to do to make sure that we're working, what we're doing is actually right. So I made a mistake. I placed the cylinder inside the base mesh, but it's fine. When you want to, since they are all the same, since this base and this guy are using the same material, we don't have any issue. We can use it like that. And even if they are using separate material, we can always assign material to that part, right? And then it's always good to try and make sure that your object is always in a mesh. It helps your mesh count, and then doesn't make your system run haywire. All right, so let's go. We just extrude again. Extrude. I think I will do three extrusion. Yeah. So three extrusion. G here, R here, extrude again. Don't bother about scaling. I will do another one here. G here, R here, extrude again to this part. So now that we are here, it is very important. Make sure that this part aligns with this part. So G here, R to rotate it, G till it aligns with it, and I think it's a bit smaller. Yeah, so we'll come to how we'll make this big soon. Let's continue our extrusion with this curvature, with this curved handle. So extrude again, and then we'll make our G come here like this. Then we scale it to be a bit bigger, and then we rotate it to be facing downward a bit. We go again, we scale it smaller, rotate it. All you need to be doing is use your reference image. That's all. What you see on your reference image is what you should model. I think this is too, the scale is too, yeah. So go again, we go again. Let's stop here. G here, R here, S to scale it to make it smaller, and G to make it out. So we keep doing that till we get what we want to get. G here, scale it, S to scale. E here, G here, R to rotate it in the direction we are moving towards, and then scale it a bit. G to move it a bit out again. So E again. I'm telling you all these commands so that you will know what I'm pressing as I'm doing all these things. So we go again. Yeah, we can go like this. G like this. S to scale it to make it smaller. And then R, very important because the direction is changing again. It's changing again. That rotation, that direction, you must master it very well because it will really help you when you are modeling. And I think this is quite small. So extrude out again. We'll stop it here. G here. Scale it a bit smaller. And the rotation, should we rotate it or not? Well, we can rotate it so that we have a good curve, just a little bit. So extrude here, stop here, G to move it about, scale again, and then I think yeah, we need to rotate it. Yeah. G a bit. G to move it. Yeah, we're good. So we extrude again, move it like this. Are we rotating? Yeah, we need to rotate it a bit. Scale here, and then we go. So E here. Now, this is very tricky. This is very, very tricky. Now, let's zoom this in so that you understand why I say this is very tricky. Because this guy needs to enter inside this mesh. So zoom this mesh in so that you see as it's interacting with it. So let's go back here and E to extrude. Now see, it's interacting with it, right? But it's just straight, but I need it to curve. So I'll stop it here. I'll stop it here where the curve starts. Then move it out G here. Then I'll do my rotation. Can you see? This is very important though. Then I'll scale it a bit. Then can you see how it went now? That is how to achieve that curve. But my rotation is too much. So my rotation is too much. So let me rotate it again. I just press Ctrl Z to like again. I rotate it here and then I move it out a bit and then I extrude. Can you see now? G to move it out a bit and then I'll rotate it fully. Then E to extrude and then voila, it's giving me the curve that I need here. Don't worry, subdivision will finish up the curve. Now it has to enter inside so that it won't overlap. So let's go to this first part that we didn't do so that we'll finish it up and then there is curve. This part is quite tricky, but for the simplicity of making this, maybe we'll try it. Yeah. So let's select this, right? We want to make this like this and make it bend like this. So the same way we've been doing it, extrude, make it smaller. Your direction now is getting important. So E again, G, make it out, then rotation. Do you see what I'm doing now? So E again, scale out, G to move it, then now rotate it. Make sure this point doesn't touch this point here as a move. The upper part of this mesh doesn't touch it. So now rotate, then E again, right? You can make it like this, then rotate it, then E again. I mean, you can do this, you can bring it out very well like this, make G go up like this. Then the next thing you need to do is now scale. Then you bring it out like this. Then you still scale it a bit. You bring it out like this. Yeah. So we extrude again. But look at the direction it's going because what? I did not change the rotation. So let's go again and change the rotation and make it even smaller and then move it out a bit. And allow it to we can make yeah try and allow it to be like on the line or close to the line so that it will not be like it's floating on it. So just allow it to be so that it's married like it's welded together. So the next thing we need to do is let's scale it down a bit. G again, and then we extrude. I didn't change the rotation again. So let's change the rotation so that it balances up. Yeah, E again, and then voila, we're almost there. Rotate it, scale it, move it, then extrude. So this is how Then let's just scale it so that it becomes very small. Then G here and then bam. So now if you notice, let's go back to how it is here so that you see the essence of what I did. So let me change it now. So you can see that I make sure like this curve attached to this place while this part here entered it. That is based on the reference that we have here. So I think we're done with all the primitive modeling part. Primitive modeling part. So the next thing we need to do now is let's turn this guy to be bigger. This guy that I selected here. So okay, because I merged this together, I have to go here, right? This handle here and this body part are together. You can separate them if you want to, but I just did it together. I think I forgot to do that. So all I need to do here is come here and then I scale this part. Then I come here and then I scale this part. But to get an even better mesh, what I need to do here is to get an even better mesh, what I need to do here is I can put a loop cut here so that I can scale here and I can scale here. So let's press the loop cut. Let's put a loop cut here. I can put a loop cut here. I mean, it depends on you, whatever you want to do. So scale it here. But you see, the scaling is not as I want. So let's bring the loop cut here. How I bring it here and then I scale it here. I had another loop cut here. I scale it inward. Oh, sorry. FGG to slide it. I scale it inward. Then I press another loop cut. Then I scale it outward. But then I think all this gymnastics is not needed because why? I'll be adding subdivision surface to it. So what I just need to do is to ensure that this part, just two parts. So here, this part here, so that the scale, it gives me a bigger part, and this part here, so that it gives me a bigger part. Yeah, that's just all. So all these are done to. Let me go back to front view. So I have this, and I think this is also. This is not. Yeah. So I think so. I mean, you can play around with whatever you want, right? To get what you want. I can move it to if I want to. I can move it to like this. I mean, like this. Anyhow I want it. I can move it anyhow I want it. If you want something perfect, you can scale it. I mean, you can do Control R again. You can bring it here and scale it. It's up to you. Then do your rotation. G to slide. Sorry, G to move it. You know, just do whatever you want, anything you want. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Control R, I can add here, and then I can make this a bit bigger, I guess. Okay, right? And then, but this part is tiny. This part here is going inside, and this part is going. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. So R, sorry, S to scale. Anything you want to do. I mean, what's very important is just that this part is totally different from this part by dimension. So we come here, had our loop cut here, and then we scale it, and then let's come here and have a loop cut very close here, and then we scale it too. We can do that for here if that's what you want. Our loop cut, then we scale it. So after doing all that, after all is said and done, so now we have to select our mesh here like this. You can select it. You can use face to select so that it will be easier. Okay, because I'm recording, that's why. So you can use face to select and then you can just do this. Okay, I can just do this shift alt. Okay. So, but you know what I mean. Okay. So you can just do to make things easier, just use this shortcut I can't remember again that I can use to select by just circling over. Can't remember again. So we now have to do this, 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 and the last part, this. So I think the best option here is let me lose the part. And I'll tell you why I want to lose the part because I'll be adding. I want to add subdivision to it separately. So all I need to do is just P. I don't need to duplicate it because I already have what I need there. So I already have what's it called. So now if I go like this and like this, so I already have a loose part. So I just lose the part, right? I just lose the part, what I was supposed to do before. So undo one. So let's go back to this again. And then we have to I want to okay, I can leave it like this. So I can just come here and just do this selection and then just select the remaining parts. So or let's see how it looks by subdividing it. We know the shortcut for subdividing, right? Just click on it and press Ctrl 2, Ctrl 2, Ctrl then Ctrl 2, and then we have this. And then let's go to shade smooth, right? Shade auto smooth, shade auto smooth. Now we have a nice mesh for our kettle, but this part is quite big, so you can adjust it in your what's it called here. So we already have our kettle, right? So the next thing we need to do is this guy is hanging. So let's bring it after we've subdivided, right? So what we need to do is enter edit mode, and then we bring everything here down, down. So shift alt and click. Oh, shift alt and click, and then we just do G and we bring it down like this. So there's no more hanging again. And I think okay, this guy too is hanging. So this one is it's quite easy. The cover too is hanging. So we'll try some stuff there. So we also come here like this. We also come here like this and okay, so let me know. Oh, let me go to point like vertices, so it's quite easier to select. So I'm selecting my vertices, holding shift though. So all I just need to do is drag it inside so that it enters inside, and we're good. We're good. Now you see that all our stuff is here. So there's something I want to show you. Let's I delete. We see that our pot the cover is closed and the kettle is not supposed to be like that. So we enter face mode, select this, and then we delete it. This only faces. Then after we've done that, we have to delete this guy too, this guy here too, because a kettle definitely has an opening. So only faces. So there's an opening there. So we now click A to select everything. And then when we do that, we now have to extrude along normal to make it thick. So I'm looking at it. Let me look at my reference to know whether I can go ahead and extrude it without any issues. So let me go out back again. Let me go back to my reference. Where's my reference? So I want to make the reference. Is this my reference? Okay, I'm in edit mode. So this is my reference. Yeah. So let me make it a bit bold to see this here. So this part here, there are some ridges that I need to put here. So before I do any other shenanigan that I want to do there, so I come to edit mode. So I come to the base, don't forget, I come to edit mode and let's come to our modifier so that we can uncage it. And then it shows us how it looks like. So I come here, don't forget there was something we learned in class. I ought to select all the edge loop, right? And then what I now need to do is to bevel it Control B, and then I can bevel it. But I think my bevel number is quite very much, so I need to reduce it. think the last time I used it, yeah. I think I'm good with three. So I go back to face mode and I select this. I select this. So then I press Alt E, sorry, Alt S to scale it inward. So the essence of doing that is so that it gives me that that edge, that edge down just a bit inward, just a bit inward. Can you see? Just a bit inward. Then I now go to my edge mode. I go to my edge mode, and this part here, I now have to scale it again. I'll do Alt S and then I'll scale it so that it gives me even more rounded part. And to make it like the kettle that is supposed to be, I'll just I'll press my N and I'll come to edge data crease. I'll increase the crease. Just like we learned in class, I can put it to one, but let me not put too much. So we are good to go. So we have a kettle that now has something that looks like a cover, you know, because it's very important. And I think here too, there is something here that we've not added. There is something here that I've not added. This part, there is something that makes this part curve here. So I think we can add a loop cut here. We can add a loop cut here. But then let me not add a loop cut. Let me just go directly bevel, to bevel straight. I go here, I press okay, let me add a loop cut before I bevel because that will affect the whole nature of everything there. So I come here to bevel and then, oh, I didn't increase I come here to bevel. Sorry, I had the loop cut rather, and I increase it to, let's do 3. So I think it's okay here. So all I need to do is just come here, Alt, and click here. Then bevel. So let's just do this, and then we're good. And then I do the face. Where's the face? So I select only the middle. Alt, don't forget to always click Alt. Only the middle and Alt S, scale it. So now this is what is happening. So what I need to do is not that. I need to, all I just need to do is add maxing. So I just come here edge mode and I'm adding maxing so that it gives us what we want here. Can you see now? It gives us that part that we want here. And I can also add to this guy. Can also add maxing to this guy. So that it just gives us 2 ripple. Yep. So it's not just like that. But I think this part is too, there's something I'm seeing that, yeah, I think this part needs to go. So X dissolve edges. Yeah. So it's not as sharp as it is before. It's not as sharp as it is before, yeah. So the next thing we need to do now is we go back to our edit mode and then we press A. Okay, there's still something I've not done down here. Let me do it first. So I go to face mode 3, click on this. Now we can see the way this guy is. So look at how the mesh is not sitting very well on the floor. It's quite of suspended. So what we need to do is just make sure you're in face mode, select it, then right click and click on poke faces. So when it does that, it distributes the mesh and then the mesh is now correct. So what we need to do is just click on I insert face and insert a face like this so that it balances that curve. You can add one more and then we are good to go now. So they is well curved now. So we need to A, and then the next thing we do after we select that is Alt E, extrude. Then extrude face along normal. So what we want to do is to make sure that this kettle is thick, looks like a real kettle. Let me do it like this so that we see what we want to do. So Alt E, extrude face along normal. Click on it. Then can you see it's extruding outside, but we are not going outside. It's inside that we are going. So you can hold your shift so that it gives you the one. So the best way to know the right extruder you've done is actually okay. Look at the mouth of the entrance of the kettle, the smaller one, not the big one. So that's what you use to gauge it. You see, it's too big, like so you go back, you go back, you go back, and then you're good. So we have something that happened here. Our edges are still quite active here. Our edges are still quite active here. That's why what happened there happened. So we can go to X-ray mode. X-ray mode is Alt Z. So I select all this, select all this. I was supposed to just delete. I added delete only faces. I totally didn't remember. So dissolve edges. Uh, X. What are we deleting? Edges, yeah. So this is what I was supposed to do initially. There's still one edge that is there. X delete edges. So now we are good. Let's leave our X-ray mode. So we go back again. Let me zoom this so that we can see this mouth to use to gauge our extrude along normal. So Alt E, press it, then click on extrude face along normal. Then hold your shift. Well, don't forget we're extruding inward, not outward. If you extrude it outward, it will just become big. So we are extruding inward. Make sure that the mesh is totally inside. That yellow part is the new extrusion. The yellow part is the new extrusion. So make sure it's totally inside the gray one. So then look at the mouth of the kettle, and I think we are good. So when you're done, just release it. So now we have a kettle that is solid and looks like a kettle, right? So there is then this part. Let's come back to this part. Let's come back to this part. So what I want us to do here is I want us to do something. So now you see that it's not selecting because it's in perspective. So let's go back to our front view and then select all and select everything. So you have to go back and select everything like this. I think we're good like this. Let me go back to, yeah, then we go like this, go like this. So what we want to do now is we still need to make this guy bigger, right? So I think the first thing we need to, okay, I've not selected all. The first thing we need to do is to loop part. So our loop part is P. So loop parts. Should we lose parts? Yeah, lose parts. Or rather, uh, let's shift E to duplicate, enter, then P by selection. So we have to now. So let's go back to our object mode. So if you click on this one, now it's separate. So just say um, insulator handle, then this one handle. So we have insulator handle and this one handle. So what we want to work on is this guy. That's the insulator handle. Uh, so now that we are here, all we just need to do is just to what we do to this kettle is just to extrude, but instead of extruding it inside like we did for this, we have to extrude it outside. We want to make it big, right? So let me make this smaller because we are working here now. So all we need to do is go to edit mode, and then let me bring back this in so that we make it proportional. So I press A and then Alt E, extrude face along normal, and then hold your shift so that you don't make it overly very big. So I think we are good with what we have now. So now we have what it is supposed to look like. So now let's bring our lead and be sure that everything is intact. So our lead is suspended in the air, right? So all we just need to do, even in objects mode, but I always like to do it here because it will give me good positioning. But make sure this is still showing so that you can see it real time. So press G Z and then hold your shift and then you bring it down till closes it. So here we are with our kettle. Okay, I think let me just do quick texturing. Quick texturing, no stress and all of that. So we have our kettle now, and then that's how we model our kettle. So let me do quick texturing. So quick texture, we can close this guy here. We don't need it again. Can close this guy here. So we have our kettle textured. So this is how to texture your kettle. I say texture. This is how to model your kettle. So the next thing we want to do is to go here, go to our shading. We go into our shading. Okay, because I'm recording, that's why. Oh, now my blender just crashed. So now you see that it doesn't matter what you are using. Your blender can crash.